So before we even start today's episode, I've got to jump on here and tell you that I'm super duper pumped because I get to collaborate with the awesome Steven Scott. We're doing HOP and Operational Learning in Las Vegas on October 8th and 9th. If it sounds like something that you'd be interested in, head over to thehopnerd.com/event and check it out. There are limited seats. And if you want to just go ahead and register, send an email to steve@hopimprovement.com. 2 days, workshop Las Vegas. It's going to be awesome. Don't miss out. I'll see you there. Hello and welcome to the HOP Nerd Sideshow, your behind-the-scenes guide to everything happening with the HOP Nerd Podcast, the HOP Nerd LLC, everything happening in my world and all of this HOP Nerd stuff. If you're looking for that, you are in the right place. Do me a favor, head over to the website www.thehopnerd.com to learn more. Make sure that you follow along on all things social media. You know those things. The platform formerly known as Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. I think I've got one of those. Definitely YouTube. Anywhere that you can follow people, make sure that you're following along. Welcome to today's episode. Hello, howdy, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the HOP Nerd Sideshow. How cool is this? I told you I'm bringing these things to you kind of randomly. You get one once a week, and then you don't get any for a couple of weeks, and then you get like a bunch, and then you get none for a while, and then that's just how this thing is going to go. You know this. I shared this with you very, very early on thinking up this whole little sideshow companion show to the main podcast. Today is an extra super duper duper special because we've got our second sideshow guest. And it is Rey Gonzalez. How cool is that? So Rey was over on the main podcast a while back, at least a couple episodes ago at this point. And so I conned him. I sent him the calendar invite for the main podcast and didn't tell him I was going to drag him over onto the sideshow as well. But Rey is a smart cookie. I'm going to tell y'all because Rey already knew. He's like, I know Sam's doing this sideshow thing, and I'm gonna be prepared because he's going to make me do the sideshow thing. So huge shout out to Rey to being very flexible in this process and being very, very generous with his time. Time is something that we all seem to run short of, especially when you're in this world of running around on planes, trains, automobiles, here, there, everywhere. You know the life. I'm describing it to you, but you know it. Many of you, most of you, probably live something very seriously close to that. And we're trying to balance that with like our most important life, like our family life and everything else. So a huge shout out to Rey to taking time out of his day to be a part of not only the main podcast, but the sideshow. And super huge thank you for allowing that to go over because I think I sent Rey an invite that was about like an hour and we probably hung out for about an hour and a half at the very least, recording the main show and this I don't know how long the interview is. 20 minutes, 30 minutes. That was probably the 30 minutes that went over. I would guess that would be it. Hold on. Cold brew. I'm having some cold brew this morning. We'll get to that cold brew review here in just a little bit, but let me give you a little bit of a recap of what's kind of been happening over on the pod the past few episodes. So I'm going to scroll on back to maybe right about there. So we've been talking about getting back to some of the basics, and then we continued that series through like 4 or 5 parts, which has been great. Now, in between there, we had an amazing episode with my near and dear friend, real life hop practitioner, Heather Hayes. So you should go check that out. I've been trying to create some video episodes too, and it's not happening for every single one of them. I know. I'm sorry. I'm a bad YouTuber. Shame. I'm a bad YouTuber. But back to life. Yeah, life. I've been putting video episodes over on the YouTube channel, so go check those out. The one that we did with Heather's a friend. Like, she's a great friend, and she lives here in my town, near it. We live in the same metro area, and we got together in my dining room, and we recorded an episode. And we capitalized on that opportunity to throw in some cameras and throw on the headsets and make a fun video episode. Now, you've probably heard this already, but I kind of shit the bed a little bit meaning that I don't do this very often. And Heather and I both really love talking about human and organizational performance. So the conversation went long in a good way. The downside to that is that I don't do this very often, and I forget that cameras have batteries. And the batteries died on her camera at a certain point during that. And then the battery died on my camera at a certain point through that. But go check it out. Let me know what you think about it. If you want to see more of those video episodes, I will definitely take the opportunity when it presents itself to make you more. And we did that with Ray's episode too. It was 2 Zoom calls or 2 Zoom screens slapped together, but it came out pretty good. So go check out the video episode of that too if you haven't watched it or you haven't listened to the pod. Both of those, great time. Coming up next week on the pod, we recorded an episode about can the basics play nice with the basics. So what I mean by that is the basics of safety in particular, kind of like safety management systems and, this and that and the other. Can that play nice with the basics of what we're talking about, human and organizational performance? And there's some really cool takeaways from that episode. One thought and idea that I have is that treating people well should be part of our basics, creating an environment in which people can be honest with us, tell us the truth, so we can do things together where we're not doing things to people. I think more than one thing can be true. I think that we can focus on the basics of human and organizational performance without just throwing out the baby with the bathwater and just say, we do nothing else. We just do HOP. Now, that's scary and probably kind of unwise. I think most of us would agree with that. So coming up next week, I encourage you to check out that episode. I think you'll find it really, really highly valuable. Now, next week, I'm going to be in Las Vegas. We have HOP and operational learning in Las Vegas. If you're listening to this and you're listening to it the week that it comes out, this is your last chance. Like, I don't mean to be like super duper scary or try to be weird. If you want to come hang out, this is your last chance to sign up for HOP. And I keep wanting to say Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas just because of the branding, right? The imagery that we put out around that's been wacky and fun. And many of you have seemed to appreciate my obsession with that movie. I love that movie. I love pretty much anything by Hunter S. Thompson, Hunter S. Thompson-esque at the very least. But it is your last chance. So if you want to sign up, you can go to thehopnerd.com/event and get the agenda, learn more about the event. That's going to direct you to the sign up, which the sign up is as simple as this. If you don't want to do any of that, if you just want to skip that step and you say, heck yes, Sam, holy crap, I forgot about this. I'd seen it a while back and then I didn't realize it. Holy crap, it's next week. Just send Steve Scott, my near and dear friend Steve Scott, an email, steve@hopimprovement.com, and he'll get you signed up. It's easy peasy lemon squeezy, super duper easy peasy lemon squeezy. Me and Steve are going to be there together doing this awesome 2-day workshop in the beautiful and the amazing Las Vegas. As you heard at the beginning of the show, I'm not going to tell you any more about it. This is it. This is the last chance, and I hope to see you there. It's going to be a great time. Now, if you just can't, or you're listening to this episode late and you go, holy shit, that was last week. Crap. I'm going to tell you that we had a great time. We've not even had it yet, and I know it's going to be flipping awesome. It's just going to be fun. I'm not telling you this to give you any FOMO, or I guess you've already missed out. So it's not fear of missing out. It's fear that I missed out. I guess at that point, I'm telling you this to let me know if you'd like to see more of those in the future. That's always big and scary. Okay, this is the behind the scenes bonus extra supplemental. Let's be real. Yeah, like doing stuff like that's scary, man. Yeah, it's scary because I don't care. I can't imagine. I don't care who you are. I can't imagine that, like, even like you think about like from the lens of like somebody that's created a movie, right, and it's going to a theater. You have no guarantees. Like, there's no guarantees that what you created, what you've been doing, that people even know about it. There's no guarantees that people are going to come hang out with you. From a movie theater perspective, there's no guarantee that you're going to get butts in seats. There's just no guarantee. Sorry, cold brew, crunching on ice. There's just no guarantee. So it's super duper scary. So I always want your feedback. I always want your input on those things. I've been having some conversations behind the scenes a little bit around this idea of like, okay, Vegas looks like it's going to be pretty good. That's cool. People want this. Should we do more? And I've been having those conversations with folks, friends around the country that have been saying you should come to the Midwest and do this in the Midwest. Like Vegas is cool and all, but do something closer to me. I'm here for that, but I need you to let me know. You should come do something in the South. I'm here for that. But you got to let me know. You got to let me know. I've been getting stuff from back in my neck of the woods, Appalachia. Yeah, through that region, that kind of mountainous region, the southwestern portion of Virginia, West Virginia, Tennessee, North Carolina. Folks saying, hey, hillbilly, why you forget about us? Come do something here with us, with your folks. And I'm here for that. Again, you got to let me know, though. The hopnerd@gmail.com. Vegas is a awesome time. I'm calling it right now. We're not even there yet. This is the week before, but it's fun. So knowing that this stuff is valuable to you, knowing that you appreciate it, I'm here to do more of these public facing workshops, but you got to let me know when, what, where, who, like all that kind of stuff. The hopnerd@gmail.com. So with talking about the big scary stuff, getting that out of the way of the panic that comes along with trying to do this stuff. I think the next thing I want to tell you about, well, it's probably this. Make sure you check out the books. If you're hanging out here on the Sideshow, you probably like it, love it, got to have more of it. If you picked up the book, if you liked it, loved it, got to have more of it. These podcasts, all this stuff, any place where you get a chance to leave us a 5-star review. Holy cow, man, that helps us more than you'd ever even know. So please do that. If you haven't picked up the books, do me a favor and pick those up and send me an email. Let me know what you think about them. Leave them a good 5-star review. Leave the shows a good 5-star review. Pick up something over in the merch shop. I always forget to tell you about this stuff, but we've got a ton of awesome, cool, new, custom design merch, like not crap that we made in Canva and said, look, here it is. This is but like working with like actual artists and different folks to bring you like cool stuff. And it's there at the hopnerd.com/shop. Those are there. You can go check out Starting Points cards, which is where I'm getting to. I'm going to tell you some really interesting stuff about Starting Points here in just a minute. But you can pick up the physical card decks at startingpointcards.com or just go to the website, click shop. There's a nice little thing up there at the top. And if you have that special hop nerd in your life, if you just know that they like what we've got going on, love what we've got going on, or maybe if you've got an enemy that you know really, really doesn't like me, really doesn't like the stuff that we're trying to do here, we have gift cards. Yeah, you just go on there and you can buy them a gift card and it sends it straight to their email with a nice little personalized message from you. If it's an enemy, it might be F you. Here you go. Enjoy. Right? But if the holidays are coming up too, it's a great little cool way to get stuff over to folks that you're thinking of. So again, digital delivery, nice, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Again, just thehopnerd.com/shop. SHOP shop. Those are things that I've been working on here. So we've talked about it. We've been talking about we're getting more guests on the podcast. That's cool. I bring as many of them in as I can. We get a lot of requests. The hard thing is time, the right folks coming on the podcast, not only the right folks, but, I try to avoid folks coming on here saying, let me tell you what I got to sell you, and trying to bring in other practitioners and folks that are nearer to actually doing this in real life, time schedules, all that stuff. And then on top of that, trying to bring those to you in video episodes, try my best. Told you about the books, told you about all the cool new additions over at the merch shop. We just did a drop not that long ago. It's like some of those cool like water bottles and tumbler cups and stuff like that. If you're not into the t-shirt kind of thing like I am, I've got to have all the t-shirts. You can ask Jarrell, all the t-shirts. I need all of them. Yeah. And we've got all of our signature hats and all that stuff over there as well. I told you about the gift cards and I mentioned picking up the physical card decks. Now here is where I want to share with you what's going on with Starting Points. So you know that the physical card decks exist. They're there. Many of you have bought them. Those things are here, there, and everywhere. Those original little card decks. Starting Points, Operationally Curious Questions. The original Operationally Curious Questions. They're there. And many of you have used them and are using them in your work worlds. And I know that you are because you're sending me a bunch of input saying, we like these, we love these. We've got to have more of these. So a couple things that we've done. I've created the expanded deluxe edition. That sounds sleazy, doesn't it? But it's really cool. I didn't know what else to call it. I really didn't know what else to call it because it is expanded and it is deluxe. So the expanded part means that it's got about 25 or 30 more cards than the original deck. So the original deck was a standard deck of playing cards. That's what, around 50 cards. Yeah, so another 30 or so on top of that. That's a sizable addition. So it is expanded. The deluxe part comes into play here. They're tarot size now. What that means is they are bigger. They are larger cards, not too big. They're not like those big gag jumbo playing cards. I don't think we need to make those. Let me know, I guess. But they're a good size. They're about the size of maybe I was going to say an iPhone, but there's like 72 different versions of that. But if you pick up your iPhone and you look at kind of the screen area, they're kind of shaped like that. They're about that size. And then on top of that, they come in a handy dandy metal carrying case. So that's some of the problem that we've run into with the original card decks. They're great and all, but they come in like the standard like fold lip card case thing paper. The downside to that is that that case degrades over time. We've avoided upgrading that case because it like almost doubled the price for whatever reason with those particular cards. We were able to do that a bit more economically with the Starting Points Tarot cards. Again, these are all print on demand. The downside of that is if you buy one deck, they cost you a bunch. Like they're not super duper cheap, not nearly as cheap as what we would like to see those things be, but they are print on demand. The more you buy, the lower that price gets. But we were able to do that a bit easier cost-wise with the tarot cards for whatever reason. So again, little bit bigger. They come with a metal carrying case, and yeah, they do cost a little bit more, but as compared to the original card deck, not that much more to have 30-ish, 25 to 30-ish more cards and a metal carrying case. They are slick. So check those out. We did launch Funky Meeting Starters too, and I've been getting a lot of good input on those. I actually put those in Jarrell's hands too. He's a leader in the healthcare world. So he's been using them during his meetings, and they get your meetings on a fun and funky foot. It helps to create that bit of a, like, let's relieve the tension out of the room. Let's focus on collaboration. Like it's cool. It's pretty neat. So you can check out all those physical things, those physical card decks. The learning journals are available over on Amazon. If you just look Starting Points Learning Journal, something like that. Again, the website's probably the easiest way to link to all that. But they are available at Starting Point Cards, pointcards.com. Now, this is the interesting stuff, though. This is the really interesting stuff. More cold brew. I've just got so much going on. And again, this is behind the scenes. You want to know all the stuff. Here it is. A while back, we started playing with the Starting Points web app. If you went to startingpoints.app, you'll see the web app is still there. But we've pivoted. We've pivoted and we have repurposed the web app. The web app is now entirely free, and it features not total complete card decks, but it gives you a good sample of just about most of the decks that we have, most of them. The original Starting Points cards, it gives you some of the Funky Meeting Starters. They're there. It's mobile optimized. You can go log in on your phone. You got to sign up, but it's free. It's totally free. Anybody that signed up for some of the paid introductory plans that we had, we went back, we refunded all that. So if that is you, you keep a look on your bank account. You should see any of your refunds coming back. We've converted all those memberships to free memberships, giving you unlimited access to everything, so you enjoy the same level of access that you had before. If for some reason the system canceled your membership, I apologize, and you have to re-sign up. You might just have to. That happens, right? That happens when you're trying to connect the wires behind the scenes. But I think that will be very, very, very few people. At least that is what I'm told. So it's a free resource now. We've transitioned that into a free resource and a great way to sample the cards, play with the cards, and then decide, I'm going to buy some physical card decks, or I'm going to get the Starting Points app. I'm going to tell you about that in just a second, because that's where all this is going. But just keep in mind that web app is very limited. It doesn't have a shuffle button. You got to kind of just click through the cards. Like, it doesn't have all the handy dandy ease of use that you have with what I'm going to tell you about with this new fancy pants I have, or even with the physical card decks. But it is a great kind of demo for you. And even if you just want to stay using the free one, you're like, Sam, I don't want an app. I don't need the card decks. I just like some of these questions. There you go. And we're going to continue to try to update that and tweak that and tune that over time and keep it a free resource. Super duper easy. Just go to startingpoints.app and you can sign up for it and start using it right now on your browser, on your computer. But again, it mostly designed around your browser on your phone. Yeah, so you can use it pretty easy in the field. So here's where I was going. We decided to transition that into a free web app because we wanted to develop a real app. And we wanted to develop a real app because as I started to play with the stuff on the web app, I just couldn't get the functionality that we were looking for. right? It sounds like such a simple idea. And in my hillbilly brain, it is a simple idea. I want to put these card decks on a phone. Like I want to be able to put them on a phone where you can just download something and you can hit a shuffle button and you get an operationally curious question. It feels like a deck of cards, but amplified. Yeah. And then that grew into this idea of like, and then I want people to have a place to maybe capture some of their thoughts. Because we have the learning journals. How do we bring those two things together in an app? That's super duper simple. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Just throw card decks into an app, throw a learning journal into an app, and boom, it's done. It's not boom, it's done. That led us down this kind of web app path of like, oh, we can figure this out in the web app. But we could never quite get the functionality that you can get out of a normal, regular app. So this is where we're at. It's cool because the web app's not just dead. It's a cool free resource. It's right there. It's right there. Go use it. I encourage you to use it. If you're thinking about getting the card decks and you want to take a look at some of the cards, it's a great way to just go maybe browse through some of them. Yeah, there's some of them there. Give them a shot in your organization. But the web app gives us that functionality. It's got easy swipe. So you just boom, 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 swipe left to right. And I'm just like, it's like flipping cards off of a top of a card deck. You just flip through it. It's got a nice little shuffle button. You go boom, card button, and there you go. But we've tied it together with the learning journal. So you get both. You get both. You get the original Starting Points card deck. That's what we're launching with. We're not throwing funky meaning starters in there yet. We're just getting it going, right? That's the first step. We're getting you those beloved, and they are beloved. I read what you send me about them. Those fun and awesome, operationally curious questions. You get that original card deck and the learning journal in the palm of your hand. So if I flip through or I hit the shuffle button and I get a card and I'm like, teach me about something that just doesn't work so well, or teach me about what a normal day looks like. Where's it really hard to get stuff done? What's a rule that just doesn't make much sense in our work world that actually makes things far harder? Where's it really easy to get things wrong? I can not only have that question handy dandy right there in the palm of my hand on my phone, but then as I'm having this conversation and I walk away from this conversation, I'm like, oh, Bob, Jane, Joe, Susan, they said this. And I need to capture this. I'm not having to pull out my little, spiral top bound little pocket notebook and try to like write notes like a detective. I can just I need to check on this. They mentioned blah, 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 and then I just, boom, it's there. I go back out into the app, out of the card decks, and there's my learning journal. I click it. It's there. And not only is it there, but it's tied to the question that I asked, and it's dated, and it's got all of that stuff. And then I'm like, I don't want to look at this on my phone. I've got a lot of really great stuff in this learning journal. I need to export this. So let me click this, and then I'll send it as a PDF to my email. How handy dandy is that? That's the functionality that we were looking for, and that's the functionality that we're bringing to you with the downloadable app, which is not available yet. I don't mean to hype you up over something that's not available yet, but it's coming, and it's coming real soon, as I said, and being raw and real and behind the scenes. Holy crap, building an app is freaking insane. Like, I know nothing about building an app. Fortunately, I've connected with an app developer that is helping us to develop this, and it looks good, and I hope that it works really well. I don't know this goes there, this has, so we're going to see, but I think this thing is going to be wildly valuable to you and your organizations because it is infinitely scalable for you. Like, you don't have to order a pallet of cards to go start using Starting Points. You can just say, hey, we're going to all download this app, and boom, we're done. How easy is that? You don't have to order a pallet of cards that will eventually wear out. They're consumable. You're going to have to buy more at some point. You don't have to do any of that. You don't have to buy that and a learning journal or it's right there. It's all together. So if you can't tell, I'm pumped. I'm super frustrated by trying to build an app. That's insane. It's hectic and it's crazy. And I'm always on the edge of my seat seeing if this is actually going to work out, but it's looking like it's going to happen. And it's looking like we're going to launch it very soon to the Google Play Store for Android and to the Apple App Store for iOS. You just be able to download it, and it'll be stinking great. So that's the story behind where we're currently at with Starting Points. Well, warts and all, that's how we're getting where we want to go over time as we continue to improve upon that app and to grow that. The goal here is to keep it simple, right? So just appified cards with a way to capture some of our thoughts, some of our notes. But I like simple stuff. I just like simple, clean. And I hope you do too, because we're going to try to keep it as simple and as clean as possible. But over time, in the next rev, we're going to add the expanded pack. And then in the next rev, we're going to add the funky meeting starters. And then we're going to add, and then we're going to add, and then we're going to tweak, and we're going to tune, and we're going to add. So we're going to continue to add interesting, more operationally curious questions to the app over time. And once you go download it, once you sign up, you just get access to those instantly. How cool is that? You don't have to go buy another pallet of cards. You don't have to go buy a new card deck. You got it right there. And love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm excited to be able to get on here pretty soon, I hope, and say, it's here. Go check it out. So I think with all of that being said, that's a bit of the scoop, if you're looking for a scoop with what we've got going on here at the HOP Nerd LLC. And we've shared a bit of what's coming up on the podcast, where we've been, kind of where we're going with the podcast. I'm going to shut up and we're going to jump right on into this really fun little segment with the amazing Rey Gonzalez, who again was so awesome to give us a whole bunch extra of his time. So here we go. Here's me chatting with Rey Gonzalez. Just said, hey, we're going to do a second little podcast. Sure. Now you were a bit prepared. You realized that the sideshow thing's happening out there.
Well, I heard it on one of your podcasts. I said,
Many are going, well, what the heck is this? But the point is that we spend so much time, and for good reason,
yes,
doing this great work that we do and talking about this great work that we do. But we kind of miss the boat a bit on just getting to know folks, because what I found, as we were talking about with the community, is that we're far more interested than what we do for a living. Truly, right? We have so much. There's just such. I meet so many interesting characters in this world of human and organizational performance, where it's like, oh yeah, I know you because of that book that you wrote, or I know you because of the great work that you're doing there in that book and this and that. It's cool. That's great. And then I'll have these conversations where they're like, oh yeah, but then I also skydive. But it's not just normal skydiving. I set myself on fire before I skydive. And it's this really cool stunt show that we do, or I train bears for a living, or on the side. And there's just such amazing thing. So the way that we do this, I'm just going to let you know.
Sure.
I've got a couple from our deck. We launched a new deck here recently called Funky Meeting Starters, which are just these wacky questions that we tend to ask people as we go through and kick off meetings and do things like that, which are fun. And I've got a couple questions that I've got kind of spread out here on Post-it notes, kind of on my desk, that I wanted to ask you, just random questions. Okay.
All right.
So the first one I'm going to ask you, we mentioned this during the main show, that you travel a bunch and you guys like checking out cool restaurants. First question, what is the fanciest meal that you've ever eaten?
The fanciest meal? Fanciest. Well, this is probably going to go way back.
Okay.
Way back. I'm married to my high school sweetheart. And when she turned 16, we went on her birthday to a restaurant in Memphis, Tennessee, where we were living. It was called the Pyrenees, and it sat up atop of a building, and it was the type that rotated slowly so you could see the city. And in terms of fancy, that was very fancy for a 16-year-old dressed up in a 3-piece suit with his sweetheart, who is in a beautiful dress, and we're just just in love like young kids would be. And in preparation for that, my mother, who was a waitress at some nice restaurants in Tennessee, I asked her, Mom, would it be all right if I ordered some wine, and would you teach me how to do it? And she knows I'm 16, but we're Hispanic. We've been, been doing wine. I mean, it's just part of the culture. Sure. I mean, it's not like we're a bunch of winos. I'm just saying, it's okay. And she knew I was responsible enough. And so she taught me what to expect. They're going to open the bottle. They're going to let you smell the cork. They're going to pour a little, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We went through that whole thing. And I think, and to this day, I remember what my sweetheart, my wife, had for dinner. She had roasted duck for dinner. And I definitely remember that. But the experience there was just phenomenal. Now, the funny side of that is, right after dinner, this fancy, wonderful dinner that we had, we went to go see Jaws in the movie theater.
How cool. How cool.
That was the end of that date.
It's funny because, I make no bones about it. I'm from Appalachia originally, and the Appalachian region of Virginia. And you know that I'm from Appalachia because I don't call it Appalachia. Right? That's what I always tell people. If you're not from there, you call it Appalachia. If you're there, you know the truth. It's Appalachia, right? So coming from the Appalachian Mountains, fancy to me for the longest time was moonshine that came in a glass jug instead of a milk jug. So I always got to remember like that first kind of fancy pants restaurant. I wasn't really cultured in that way in any way, shape, or form, right? And I remember one of the first gigs that I had as a safety professional, traveling with this group of folks that the director, right, taking us all out and sitting there going through that whole wine thing that I'd never experienced, right? I mean, a wine to me is something you bought at a gas station with a twist off top when you couldn't afford like Miller High Life, right? Because you could buy the wine for like $2. Right? And going through that whole exercise, but even to this day, I'm sitting there and going, and I love a good wine. Even to this day, when they do the whole thing, I'm like, I still feel them as like a little kid sitting there like, what do I do now? What am I supposed to do? Just want me to taste it first? Okay.
Well,
can I just chug half this glass and then tell you I don't want it?
Have a little more. Let's try that a little bit. But I answered it just kind of right off the top of my head, thinking about the back in the day. But actually, just this past, I believe it was Tuesday night, we went to a wonderful restaurant right here, just down the road from us. Had a wonderful wine tasting meal that was all the food. It was a 5-course meal that was paired with a different type of wine.
Yeah, those are great.
At the Classic Cafe in Roanoke, which is a wonderful place to go. And we had a wonderful time with a couple that we know from church. Yeah. And so we had a wonderful time there.
I tell you, I'm not cheap, Ray, but I'm very frugal around certain things. I'm very, very frugal around certain things. There's just certain things where I'm not spending money on. That's dumb. But food is not one of those things. And I tell people this all the time. Life is short. Spend your money on good food and good wine. You should. You should. Absolutely. Because it's not just about the food, it's the experience. It's all this. When people are in Phoenix, I will tell you, anything at the Biltmore Resort is absolutely amazing. So there used to have a nice restaurant there called Wright's at the Biltmore. I think the pandemic ate that. But I just swung through there the other day. The thing about Phoenix is if you come to Phoenix in the summertime, these amazing resorts like the Biltmore, probably one of the nicer resorts, in my opinion, in the entire country. In old school. It used to be like the hideaway for Hollywood movie stars. I think one of the drinks I think they invented there. I think the Biltmore is where the tequila sunrise was invented, and it is not the one that we know today. It is wildly different. If I'm remembering correctly, that is the birthplace of the tequila sunrise. But amazing. So pro tip here: anybody that's coming to Phoenix, if you don't mind the heat, if you come in the summertime, you can get rooms in these amazing resorts. And the Biltmore has seven swimming pools, water slides, go just for the pools. Yeah. Right. Rooms that would normally cost you probably upwards of $700 or $800 a night. Mm-hmm. If you come in July, you can get them for like $100. So if you're looking for a little pool vacation, come spend a couple days and just sit in the pool and drink tequila sunrises. Yeah. Middle of July, Phoenix, all the hotels do that because no one comes here in the summertime. But the Biltmore has a great restaurant. But I think from what I've discovered here local, so anybody traveling through Phoenix, if you ever get a chance, go to Litchfield's. It's in Litchfield Park, and it's at the Wigwam Resort, famous resort here in the West Valley in Litchfield Park. And that restaurant, I'm telling you, it's priced well, and the food is out of this world. It's absolutely insane. But spend your money. Spend your money on good food.
Do they serve lunch?
What's that?
Do they serve lunch?
I don't know. I have to look.
Is it close to the airport?
It's not. It's according to how much time you have. If you have enough time. Now, well, I'll check. I'll find us a spot. Give me the time frame once you know. Yeah.
As soon as this call's done, I'm jumping on American Airlines to take a look and see if I can change my flight. So
you let me know. You let me know how much time we've got, and based on that time, I'll find us somewhere cool to go. Yeah. Now, cool. Next question. Next question. Other than telling people that you need to spend your money on good food and good wine, it matters. What's a movie or TV show that you're ashamed to admit that you watch?
Well, geez, I don't know if I'm ashamed of anything I watch.
Embarrassed, maybe a little.
Well, my wife teases me about one show that I'm hooked on that I watch over and over and over, and that's NCIS.
Oh, I love it.
The original NCIS is my favorite. They're like in 21 seasons coming up or something like that. Just ridiculously good writing, and all the spinoffs have been pretty darn good. But I'm hooked on that show. I will watch the entire series and then go back and watch it again. And right now, the characters Tony and Ziva are going to launch their own new thing, so they're on Spotify.
Yeah.
And so I'll listen to their little reviews of the episodes just to get more out of it, because there's so many Easter eggs and all these different things that we learn from these characters. So anyway,
that's
I'm
a great show.
Not ashamed of it, but my wife teases me about it all. I'm going to be watching that again.
That's a great show. So anybody out there listening, if you want to get Ray something for Christmas, get him a nice NCIS t-shirt. Send it.
Or
NCIS hat. Nice hat. Yeah, nice hat.
That's what I want. Yeah, you bet.
Okay, and I'll make this one a bit more rapid fire. Keep this one moving. But what's an office or work buzzword that drives you nuts?
Office or buzzword, probably resilience.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good one.
People throw that out there, and most of the time they're not applying it correctly.
No,
and that drives me nuts.
I think probably one of the ones that I always go to. My go-to is always synergy.
Yeah,
it's always synergy. Now I'll tend to follow this up that if there's any specific acronym that drives you crazy. Now in the worlds that we come from, we have acronym procedures and approved acronym lists. So you may or may not have one of those that probably drives you crazy.
Well, I worry that these new terms that come out sometimes just get thrown out there, get overused, and no one's helping people to understand more holistically what resilience really means.
Right.
It's like, well, I got this new term, so I'm going to start using it. Well, hold on. Or how are you applying that?
It feels good. It's bright and shiny. The one that I pick on all the time nowadays is psychological safety. Right. Yeah. It's like like the concept, extremely valuable, matters a whole bunch. But then quickly it just becomes another word that we say, you need psychological safety. Right. It just becomes another something that we say. And it starts to lose any meaning. It just becomes another something. It's a feel-good word.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Synergy.
That's good.
All right, last one, because I know I'm keeping it going on here, but this is an interesting one. I always find this one interesting. But what's the worst career advice that you've ever received?
The worst career advice, probably people trying to encourage me not to speak up.
Yeah.
For political reasons or whatever. And I'm telling you, I've never been built that way.
No.
Never have. I will speak up. I will stand my ground for myself or for the little guy or whatever.
Absolutely.
Or gal, whatever.
Yeah.
I do not. That's the worst advice you can give anybody is like, don't say anything. Don't speak up. And people have tried to hold me back. And that's just not appropriate at all.
No.
Yeah. So,
I encourage folks a lot. It's funny. When I wrote some of the original Safety Sucks things, which was designed to be a little pointed, and that was on purpose to be a little bit of provocative, right?
Yeah.
But when I wrote that, I was sitting there and I was like, man, safety people are never going to talk to me again. And then it had quite the opposite effect. Like I have a lot of safety folks, in particular, especially younger safety folks, and across the map, right? But that reach out to me and we talk, we chat a bit, and I won't necessarily call it mentoring, but just having conversations. They need an ear, they need to bounce some ideas off somebody. And so what you said is extremely powerful. I know we're having fun and all, but that matters so much. And myself being a bit of a extroverted introvert, right? It's very easy to fall into that, especially when you first start in your career. And you couple that with imposter syndrome and all the other kind of stuff that we deal with as people.
Sure.
To sit there and go, you shouldn't do that, or I should tone it down a little bit, or I should don't. There's a magic part that happens, and I'd love to hear your take on this. But for me, I experienced this as a bit of a magic part that happened in my career. That when I just fully embraced being myself, talking about the things that I knew I needed to talk about, bringing up the important stuff, not toning it down, like just being me and taking this stuff that matters to me and talking about it with the passion that exists inside of me. Yeah. It was like magic sauce. Yeah. It feels like you're playing it safe, right? When you're keeping that stuff and you're going, no, I'm not going to say that because that might have, this person I'm going to, in this group, I know that person, if I say this, they might, when you get past that, not to put this in too brash of a way, but when your give a damn gets busted in a good way, right? And you go, no, I'm just going to say it because it needs to be said. I'm going to say it appropriately. And I'm going to say it when it needs to be said. But yeah. I'm not shutting up. This stuff is important. Yeah, when you embrace that, your career tends to go right in a good way. You rock it, right? You rock it.
The key word there, I think, is appropriately, right? I mean, I mean, be respectful when you speak up.
Absolutely.
And don't use profanity because then you're going to confuse matters or inside emotion or something like that. People are going to try to figure out, why are they using that word instead of?
They're going to confuse your passion for anger or discontent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you need to articulate yourself well, and then speak your mind, speak your piece, show the passion you have, talk about the warnings, the downsides, or whatever you're concerned about, and ask very clearly what support you need.
Yeah,
and I think when you do that, it can help you tremendously.
Absolutely.
So that was the worst advice I ever got was don't say anything. Yeah. You're only in here to listen. I was like, what? Yeah. I can't participate. What do you mean I can't participate? That's not me.
I love it, man. Well, I really genuinely appreciate your time, and I've taken far more of it than what we'd sent to you on your calendar. So I genuinely appreciate you spending time with me, and I know everyone out there listening appreciates this as well. So thanks for hanging out, man. It's been a ton of fun, and I can't wait to do it again.
Well, thank you for the opportunity, and I will connect with you via email here right afterwards. Once I look up some information, send you all the links and et cetera that I promised. So that we can have that connected there.
Well, have fun. Well, at the very least, I'll make sure you have some good food while you're in Phoenix.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it.
What do you think about it? It was awesome getting to spend some time with Ray. Ray's just an all-around awesome human in my book. And if you're listening to this, I think coming up, if you're listening to the newer when it's coming out, I think coming up, me and Ray are actually going to hang out a little bit in person. So that's going to be cool. He's coming through Phoenix, and I'm going to go show him maybe some good local Phoenix food, I hope. So huge shout out to Ray. I'm pretty sure, Ray, if I caught you correctly there, you tweaked your flight to make that happen. So I'm excited to come pick you up at the airport and show you around this great little city of ours here in Phoenix, Arizona, and hopefully introduce you to some amazing food. So now, with all of that said, I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know who you'd like to see on the sideshow, thehopnerd@gmail.com, or if you want to come on the sideshow. The other thing that I forget to tell you is that if you go over to the podcast, thehopnerd.com/podcast, or go to the website and click on podcast, you'll scroll down. You can listen to the main podcast there. Right below it, it's got a link to take you to the sideshow. But when you go over to that sideshow page, or again, I've got to check while I'm doing this because I'm the world's worst at giving you like the wrong links. If you just go to thehopnerd.com/sideshow, you can tune into these episodes anytime that you want to. But what's really great about that is there's a nice little like handy dandy box, like be on the show anytime from anywhere, and you just click start recording. If you want to talk about cold brew, if you want to give me recommendations on places to eat, if you want to ask fun, interesting questions, you can do that. It's like super duper easy. You just go over there and check it out, and there you go. Boom, boom, done. Like you might just be on the show. So with that all out of the way, let's do our little bit of a cold brew review. So I don't remember if I did this one or not, but I'm going to do it again because it's what I've been drinking on this morning. We went over to one of our most favoritist places. I love it because it's local. It's super duper cool. I've shared it with you before. It's called Anthem Coffee here in Phoenix. I think they're in the Pacific Northwest as well. I think that's where they started. They bought a little place here, or it's not all that little. They had a couple locations called Ebb and Flow, and a cool little locally owned coffee shop. And they bought those and then rebranded rebranded them under their main brand again. I think they come from the Pacific Northwest, and they're great. Now we stopped there this morning, but the cold brew that I had from the other day, it's Cactus Liquor Cold Brew, and I had it from actually a boba shop. So this Cactus Liquor Cold Brew, which is available at Anthem, we were in a boba shop because Avery loves boba. Jarrell loves boba. I'm not so much of a boba drinker. Every now and again, I mean, it's great and all, but it's like, I feel like I drank like a bottle of syrup. Like it's usually so, and like you mix like a bucket of sugar with what I'm assuming is a bucket of like whole milk, and then you mix that with like a teaspoon of tea, and then you're like, it's tea, it's healthy for you. So I've been trying to avoid it. As much as I can. So we popped in there, and I get like a nice cold brew, and I love this Cactus Liquor Cold Brew. It's a nitro infused cold brew. It comes out of a keg, which is some of the reason why you see it at a lot of these little shops all around, from boba shops to coffee shops, to this, to that, the other. And I just had it again the other day. And I don't remember. I think I've rated this before, but I'm going to rate it again because I absolutely loved it the other day. They have a CBD infused version and a non-CBD infused version. I did the non-CBD infused version the other day, which now, as I'm starting to tell you this, I'm thinking I should have went with the CBD infused version because last week, I didn't quite get around to telling you this yet. It was Avery's birthday. She's in the double digits now. She hit 10, and we partied hardy, man. Like, we had some good times. We did stuff on her actual birthday, and then she had a big pool party here on her main, like, Saturday party day, right? So her birthday fell in the middle of the week. She insisted on going to school. We gave her the option of not going to school. And she said, no, why the heck would I want to sit here home with you? I'm going to go to school and let all my friends tell me happy birthday, which seems like the right move. But then we had our party on Saturday, and there was a lot of movement, a lot of moving around. We had a heat wave in Phoenix at the same time. So it was like 115 degrees again. So I'm like melting and on my feet all day, and then going to the gym, and then prepping all this stuff for HOP and Operational Learning in Las Vegas, and then this, and then that, and then this, and then I will like sneeze and my back went out the other day. That's a long way of saying I think I probably should have used the CBD cold brew. Maybe it would have relaxed my back muscles a little bit. I don't know, but it definitely couldn't have hurt. But this go around, so I've told you, I think I've told you about the CBD cold brew, and I'm going to give you probably just a quick review on both, and then we're going to move into what's on the shelf, because we got to do that too. But this time around, I had the non-CBD infused cold brew. It's just two like keg handles there, or taps there, and CBD, non-CBD, both Cactus Liquor. The flavor is a little bit different. I don't know that the CBD adds that. I don't know. It has to change something, right? But yeah, like it was good. It was good. I'm an ice in cold brew kind of person. That's a no with nitros, right? So you don't tend to do that. Some people insist and they do it, and I've tried it, and it's not. I think it's better without the ice. I agree. But I had it. You pour it. You get like a nice little cup of it, and it's got like a nice like head on it. It's got that kind of creaminess on the top, which is kind of nice. So kind of creamy, very, very strong. Got a bit of a bite to it. But I think if I'm going to rate it, so you ready? So I don't remember what I gave the other one. I think I gave the other one like a strong, like 7 something. I'm thinking it was like a 7. Yeah. So I'm going to go and probably give the non-CBD version maybe like a 6.5, somewhere right around there. It's a great coffee. It's a great coffee. If you see Cactus Liquor Cold Brew, it is a nitro, and I would encourage you to give it a shot and let me know what you think about it. I've enjoyed it. It's definitely got a super high caffeine concentration. And I know this. Hold on, as I drink some more cold brew here. Because I forgot to give you the taste. Here you go. Ready? Ham that one up so you can get a good sound on it. A little ASMR. Is that what you call that? But I know that it's strong because it's a small cup. And when I drink that small cup, and there's no ice in it, so I can chug it. I can chug it fast. I drink it much faster, right? And it's a small cup. I can feel it. Like, I can feel it. And I'm not talking about the CBD version. You don't feel anything from the CBD version, just if you're my non-CBD people out there. But I can feel it. I can get that like tingle, so I know the caffeine is high in it. And it does its job, and it does its job really well. I still like that kind of like experience of like, the cold brew with ice, starting with that first sip, right? And again, I'm always kind of comparing this to maybe Starbucks is kind of where I'm comparing it because it's my OG favorite. But then over time, the flavor at the beginning is different than the flavor in the middle, and it's different than the flavor at the end because you're kind of watering it down, and it's just kind of, it gives you a roller coaster, an adventure of flavors across that, and you just don't experience that with the Nitro. If you love the flavor and you want that same flavor all the way through, again, it's great. It's a great coffee. I will continue to order it, and I would encourage you to give it a shot too. Let me know your recommendations. I want to get over more into some of the canned stuff because I've been frequenting coffee shops, and again, don't crap. I'm saying again like every other word. Let me know. I'm getting a tick in here from all the caffeine. Let me know if there's some local coffee shops in your neck of the woods, if I'm passing through, that I should try. Or if we have time, if your schedule's free and my schedule's free and I'm in your neck of the woods, we'll just get together and we'll go there together and we'll rate some cold brew together. It'll be a fun time. And maybe we'll even talk a little bit about hop. That's always fun. But I am trying to get more over into some of the canned stuff, cold brew. I've not had luck with canned stuff, and I think that's why I'm more interested in it. I have been doing some of the box stuff, Wandering Bear. I have been buying the Starbucks Concentrate, which is good, but still different than the stuff you get at Starbucks. I have been buying some of the jugged stuff here and there and everywhere. Those seem to be better than most of the ready-to-drink canned stuff that I've bought. But if you do have some canned stuff in mind, let me know, because I'm trying to find one that doesn't suck. I want to get one that gets above at least a 6. I want to find one where I'm like, oh man, baby, oh baby, I will throw this in the fridge every week. I've not found that yet. The closest thing that I've had, and it was a stinking great cold brew, was some cans that Ryan Costello brought me when I was doing some stuff with them with the Philadelphia ASSP at their Philadelphia ASSP PDC. Ryan, I'm sorry if I screw it all up. That was a great time. Thanks for having me. That's been a while back now, but Ryan was amazing and showed up with a little cooler full of little cans cold brew, and they were all great. I talked about them back on a different episode. I'm not gonna bore all of y'all with that, but that's the closest thing I've had. I bought a couple other ones where I've had the ones I've bought, the ones I've seen on Amazon at least, and that looks interesting. Let's try that. They ended up in the trash can. I hate to be wasteful, but they ended up in the trash can. So there you go. There's the cold brew review. I know I'm dragging this one on and on and on because we talked about so much, and it's been a minute since we've done one of these, and we had that first and foremost, that amazing conversation with Ray. As I take another sip of my cold brew, that's going to indicate a transition into, hey Sam, what's on the shelf? So here we go. Nice little transition. So I'm turning around. You know how this part goes. The first thing that pops into my eyesight here, into my line of vision, is that right? Is this little end loader toy. And I love this one because when we were in Tennessee a while back, taking our nice little runaway vacation to the mountains, we went to this place called Digging It or Dig Zone or something like that. I've seen some other folks post about it on LinkedIn, which is cool to see other folks hanging out in a place that we love so much, the Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, Tennessee, Smoky Mountain kind of area. But we went, and Avery got to operate equipment all day, and she's stinking great at it. And who doesn't love operating equipment? I got to operate equipment. I've been on equipment before, but it was fun just to go play on it. It's a great theme park, I think, for most ages. So go check that out if you're there. But this little front end loader, we bought this in the gift shop, and we like to buy stuff that just has memories tied to it. And so when I look at it, it's sitting here right on my shelf, and it's just something. It's just something that reminds me of that fun time that we had over those 10 or so days, not only going there, but going to Dollywood and hanging out and just locking ourselves in the cabin as a family away from everything else and just having a good time. The next thing that I see here is the Starting Point's Funky Meeting Starters, which I'm super duper proud of to bring you those, not just the Funky Meeting Starters, but all those, and especially to bring you those now in that 10 carrying case. So if you're watching the pod, if you're watching the video, if you're on a call with me, you can see them back in the far corner. So I'm going to tell you about our basketball. So I've got a Phoenix Suns basketball up here. It's not signed. It's nothing like that. But you couldn't pry it out of my cold dead hands. And even for a signed one, it could be the most expensive Phoenix Suns basketball ever. And I don't know that exists with the Phoenix Suns, but I'm sure there's some pricey ones out there. but it's from the first basketball game that we took Avery to. And what's great about it, there are a couple of reasons it's great. We got to do it together. Number two, it was one of those situations where the company that I was working for at the time, this was back when the day job was still in full effect, and this was the night job, meaning that like I had 2 full-time jobs. They did a really cool thing, and they did this regularly. Hold on, more cold brew. They always had these opportunities to go to basketball games, to go to football games, to go to a lot of baseball games. And at the time, they're like, hey, we've got some tickets. You and your family should go. Here you go. Here's some tickets. And we just thought they were normal tickets, but they weren't. They were like fancy pants tickets. They had like a parking pass. And they had like the little pass where you're just like, here's the VIP area. You can go in there. There's a buffet. There's a buffet and there's a bar and there's this and there's hangout areas. And you've got, this is my most favorite part about fancy pants stuff like that. This is really, I could care less about the rest of it, but you have private VIP bathroom access. That's slick, right? Come on, that's slick. But the funnest part of that entire experience was to get to see Avery experience that. And that's where we picked up this basketball. It was her first basketball game ever, and she got to go and like roll in style. Side note, we got to do that for free, which was kind of stinking great. And she got to experience that. It was so fun that I had to like let her in on the secrets. Like, Avery, like, we'll come back. We'll do this a bunch. You love this stuff. But this is not normal. This is like not how you normally go to like again, that company was amazing. We would get like box tickets to D-backs games sometimes, and to get to take her or to get to take Jarrell. And I'm like, this is not how you normally experience baseball games. Just to let you know, we're usually down there. It's way, I think it's just as much fun, but there's usually not a dessert cart involved. Yeah, there's usually not a dessert cart. It's usually not, what do you want? It's all included. That's not usually how this works. And again, I'm a bit old school with that stuff. Like, if I'm going to the baseball game, I just want some peanuts and a hot dog and maybe a beer, and set me down in a halfway decent seat, and I'm going to have a blast. That stuff's fun and all, and it's extra special. But that's not how this normally goes. But we had an absolute hoot. She got into it. You know, that's kind of started her down this path of like, I want this jersey and I want that jersey. And, you know, so she's been collecting some of the Suns jerseys and doing different things like that. It's been a hoot. So, one of my most favorite possessions. So when you're looking at stuff on the shelf, and I'm done sharing shelf stuff today. But when you're looking at stuff on my shelf, everything here, it's not just crap that I put behind me. I joke with people on calls all the time, and tell them, you know, like, yeah, it's just all the stuff that, you know, it's just my junk collection. It's just stuff that I'm not allowed to put anywhere else in the house. Right. You just you put it there and you don't put it in. It's really not that. Everything here has a significant meaning to me, memories mostly. Experiences that I've had mostly with my family and throughout my career. And so when you're looking at all that stuff, I know I joke and I'm like, I'm going to open an Etsy shop. I'm just going to put price tags up here on everything, and then people can bid on it, you know, over on Etsy. I don't think you can bid on Etsy, but you get the joke. Yeah, it's funny, haha. But it's not true. All this stuff, as cluttery as maybe it looks, it's all super duper important to me, and things that bring back really great memories, make me smile, make me laugh, make me think about some awesome stuff. And I'm constantly adding to it. So there you go. There's the sideshow. I hope that you've had an absolute hoot of a time. One last nice sip of cold brew before we say goodbye. I hope that you're enjoying these things. Let me know what you think about them. I know that they're wild and kind of all over the place, but that's the point. It's just a companion. So if you're wanting to know more about everything that I've got going on behind the scenes, or tap into more of who I am, this is a great place to do that. And if you want to be a part of the sideshow, or you know somebody that I should have on the sideshow, somebody that you would like to get to know more outside of just like what we do for a living, that's the whole point here, is like that stuff's interesting and all. But I think it's just great getting to know people as people. Let me know. Let's do that. The hopnerd@gmail.com, or drop me a DM somewhere, and we'll try to make it happen. Thanks for being here. Thanks for all your love and support of everything that we've got going on. Until next time, it is Sam Goodman of the HOP Nerd LLC, the HOP Nerd Podcast, starting points, operationally curious questions, and of the HOP Nerd, the HOP Nerd universe. Is that what we call it? Until next time, love you. Mean it. Bye. Thanks for listening in, everybody. Cruise over to the website, www.thehopnerd.com. Scroll to the bottom, click join the mailing list, and definitely do that. Follow along everywhere that you can follow along, like Instagram, or the platform formerly known as Twitter. It's the HOP Nerd on Instagram, the HOP Nerd 1 on X. And make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel for brand new videos around hop and a bunch of other stuff. LinkedIn. Make sure that you're following me on LinkedIn, Sam Goodman, and the HOP Nerd LLC and the HOP Nerd podcast page. And if you need a hand with human and organizational performance, operational learning, and everything in between, the website, or just send an email, thehopnerd@gmail.com.